So guys, let's get started. I'm going to give you a market update today. Now today is October 10th. It's 9:25 a.m. The daily candle has just opened here in Brazil. Today we saw a very strong, very aggressive downward market movement. Trump announced a 100% tariff on some products from China. And the international market, right? The S&P 500, Nasdaq, and the market as a whole dropped a lot. So the dollar also surged, right? These are things that really weaken the international market. And as a result, this also affected Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin is hit, if Bitcoin dominance rises a lot, altcoins bleed heavily. So we saw dominance shoot up, okay? Altcoins dropped by about 50%, 40%. Some even fell more, okay? Bitcoin itself also dropped a lot. This is a movement we could have expected given that the international market was very stretched. The international market has had weeks where it just keeps going up, right? Unfortunately, Bitcoin's movement is still very much based on the traditional market. Bitcoin was created to be decentralized, to be an asset that serves as a store of value, and it has been performing well in that regard in terms of appreciation and price. However, when it comes to market dominance, it still doesn't move on its own. It still depends on many other factors. But what happens? Let's go to the chart now. So Bitcoin, right? In the last video I recorded, the video covered this region. I talked about the possibility of selling between 23 and 24,000, right? The market liquidated above the all-time high, set a new historical maximum at 126, and up until now, up until this correction, it's been a pullback movement here, which was natural, right, to mitigate this order block and make a move after it broke out. When Trump made the announcement, the market accelerated downward, right? So it invalidated this order block and swept liquidity below these lows, okay? At the weekly low, at the internal liquidity of the daily range, okay? So our daily range is here, the base of our range is this, the top of our range is here, okay? The price came and swept liquidity below these lows in the region between 105,000 and 108,000, okay? So the price swept this liquidity and mitigated this order block, okay? I had shared this setup in the community some time ago. I believe it was at the beginning of September, okay, when the price was in this region, because I believe the price would sweep this internal liquidity, mitigate the block, and then make a move. Bitcoin did the opposite. It went up from here. It mitigated this order block, this demand zone, and made an upward move. And with Trump's announcement today, in just a single candle, it liquidated all these people, all these stop losses that were down here, and mitigated the block. So what is the projection for Bitcoin now? I believe that Bitcoin is going to accumulate in this region. It will still make a downward move, will accumulate and may recover. Okay, no, for now, I do not believe it will set a new all-time high from here. I really believe in an accumulation. Maybe it will even come back to mitigate this order block again, which is in the 103,500 region. But for now, I think it could keep accumulating here, making moves up and down like this, downwards, accumulating, generating liquidity, and then it will decide which direction to go. Looking at the weekly chart, what do we have? We have another range. And this range is already a bit more extreme for the price, but it's where I believe would be the lowest point Bitcoin could fall to. Because let's analyze it here. The market broke the structure here and showed us, it made it clear that this bottom, the liquidity, from the moment it broke this, so here we had a boss break of structure. Here we had the liquidity sweep, and here we had the confirmation of the structure. On the weekly, this bottom here, where the daily order block that was mitigated in today's move is, that's liquidity. So we need to pay attention to that. So this bottom here on the weekly, it's liquidity. I'm giving you a macro reading so you can have a market bias, so you can understand what might happen if Bitcoin starts to fall, starts to drop, and where it might stop. So we have liquidity here at this bottom, which is in the 98,000 region. What do we do here in this situation? We take our Fibonacci. First, we identify the base of our range. What is the base of our range? This bottom is the base of the range, and this top is the top of the range. So I draw my Fibonacci from this base to this top to find my hot zone. I found my hot zone. My hot zone is in the region between 94,000 and 85,000. So I, Robert, believe that the price and at most the correction that Bitcoin will have will be between 94,000 and 90 to 85,000 at most, okay, in this cycle for the next few months. Okay, I don't believe this will happen right now, but if it does, that's the maximum correction I see for Bitcoin. Okay, if Bitcoin drops below this level, we'll redo the analysis and see what could happen. Okay, but within the current scenario, within the current weekly range, the most that Bitcoin could drop based on my analysis would be this: between 94,000 and 85,000 is the maximum, okay? Remembering that based on the current scenario, it's very likely that Bitcoin will do exactly what I just said, okay? It will accumulate, and what we have here is from the weekly chart. Let's measure this wick here, look. And it's very likely that Bitcoin could come to be within these regions here, start to generate accumulation, and after it creates this accumulation, it will generate liquidity both above and below. So it will sweep liquidity, make a move, sweep liquidity, make a move until it starts a new trend, right? And we are going to trade price. So we have to wait for this liquidity generation before building a position. If you weren't able to get Bitcoin at the order block, you can build positions even between 106,000 and 104,000. But in that case, it has to be a position with lower leverage, and you should also use a tighter stop loss. And we still don't have much clarity, you know, so it doesn't make sense to be building a position here. You have to wait for this liquidity to be generated so we can see where retail is going to place their stop loss, so we can wait for the move to come in favor of the institutions, right, in favor of the market makers. Let's take a look at Ethereum now. So here's the thing: I got stopped out on Ethereum. Let's go. I managed to catch this long on Ethereum at 1830. I took a long up to the 24 region. I took partial profits here around 4,500. I took my partial here. I opened another long in this region where the price hit and 3%, but it took me out at break even, and I opened along at 40.90. Okay, I opened along at 40.90, got stopped out, hit the stop loss. That's fine, all good. Okay, the problem would be if I didn't have a stop loss. That would be the real issue. Okay, I also shared within the community along between 3700, okay, a swing between 3700 and 3500, okay, with a stop loss below the low, a swing trade. Okay, this trade is still running, okay, and it's up 6%, but it's a high risk trade. Okay, I actually believe that Ethereum will have a similar movement to Bitcoin, okay, that it will keep accumulating in this region here, so it will come back here. I'm sure it will keep accumulating in this region until it goes up, okay, to make a pullback here for a likely next downward move. Or if some interesting news comes out for the market, then maybe the market will move differently, okay, but for now, for the next few days, I don't see the possibility of setting a new all-time high. No, maybe just a possible accumulation, really, okay? Looking at Ethereum's macro range, it's interesting here. Look, between 2,750 and 2,130, okay? That's the lowest I believe Ethereum will drop within the weekly range, okay? So first, in my opinion, Ethereum is going to keep accumulating within this range, okay? Between 3,300 and 3,800, it's going to keep accumulating here to generate liquidity and then decide whether it's going to capture liquidity below and move up or capture liquidity above and move down, okay? That's the current scenario. In a downward move, I believe the lowest Ethereum will go is between 2,735 and 2,135 because it's the same reading. The market swept liquidity and broke structure, right? Weekly range, confirming for us that we have a high range where the price will make a downward move, which is natural. It will liquidate longs, right? Those who entered early, it's going to grab that liquidity, mitigate an order block or a watch zone or any interesting region, any interesting point, and then make an aggressive upward move, okay? The world hasn't ended in the crypto market. This is a natural move, and actually, Bitcoin barely corrected. compared to how much it went up. It barely corrected at all compared to its rise. Many people lose faith in the crypto market when moves like this happen, but this is totally natural, okay? Totally natural. So in this first order block, I took a stop loss. That's just how it is. In the first order block here, an internal block, okay? These blocks are very high risk too, so I took a stop on it. The bearish block was triggered. It's in progress now, but it's very likely it will come back to the range. But let's see. Let's keep following it. Link was the only significant short position I had, okay? I also had a short position on BNB, but I deliberately chose not to share that particular short with the broader community. In fact, within the community, I actually shared a long position which unfortunately also got stopped out. And this sudden manipulation move in the market also stopped me out of that position, okay? As for Link, I successfully managed to catch a profitable short and I promptly shared it with the entire community. In fact, I even ended up canceling this specific short trade within the community, but I was already firmly in the position myself. Some people managed to get in on the trade while others unfortunately didn't. So our primary and most notable result here is in Link, okay? But I also took a stop loss in DOT, all right? I took a stop loss in DOT. Man, I was really impressed with this altcoin, okay? It got close, it went to $1, all right? It's an altcoin with potential, but it doesn't perform well, right? It has a good project, but it doesn't have good performance. But I believe that, after this move, something could happen. Let's go. And I'm going to follow the same reasoning here. I'll wait for accumulation. I'll wait for it to come back to the $2 region, okay? Between $1.90 and $1.50, all right? I believe it's unlikely to come back to $1 again, only if Bitcoin and Ethereum really crash hard, okay? Then maybe it could happen, but it will also depend a lot on Bitcoin's dominance, all right? So if it accumulates there, I'll build swing positions in spot, okay, for the long term. Let's buy at $2 and sell at 5 or 10. I've already managed to catch trades in this altcoin up to $10, so it has potential too, okay? AAVE as well, great, has a lot of potential, has had a very big drop, but it's not giving an interesting repositioning price. Avi isn't. Another thing I'm keeping an eye on here to build a position is near. For swing trading too, it could be super interesting, right? Following the liquidity sweep, it swept the liquidity from the bottoms here. The situation you can see is perfect, okay? So let's wait. And NIA is also going through this, right? It starts this liquidity generation, accumulation, generating liquidity periodically. And we can take a long trade on it too, a swing trade. These are setups that can easily pay 100, 200%, okay? We just need the price to generate liquidity. It doesn't make sense for you to jump in blindly without a plan for there's nothing like that. You have to have an execution plan. Our execution plan is this: wait for liquidity to be generated, wait for that liquidity to be swept, and enter together with the institutions. Okay? The institutions always do this, guys. They always do this. There's another interesting thing. It also swept a lot of liquidity. Wait for an alignment here in Atom. I'm going to wait for an alignment. Okay? On the 1 hour, 15-minute time frame, let's see if we get an alignment in the next few days, okay? But within this scenario, what happens? There's no point in being impatient. You have to be patient. You have to build a coherent position. There's no point in entering blindly, okay? If you got stopped out, what do? You rebuild your mindset to open new positions. If you're using a stop loss, you're protected. The problem is if you trade without a stop loss, right? If you trade without a stop loss, you're at the market's mercy. And the crypto market is not a market that allows for that, guys. The crypto market doesn't accept trading without a stop loss, okay? The crypto market is very volatile, so it's necessary for you to use a stop loss to protect yourself, okay? So today I saw people who made a lot, I saw people who lost a lot of money, okay? And today, the risk management I use is as follows. I can lose, like if I win one, I'm still in the green, or I can lose three, and if I win one, I'm still positive, okay? So this risk management is what keeps a trader in the market, okay? This makes all the difference. If you have trouble with risk management, you can send me a message on Telegram and I'll send you some material that I wrote myself for free to help you out. because there are a lot of people who have potential, who know how to analyze, who know how to do analysis, but can't manage. And that's why they aren't successful. So the market, I always tell my students, the market isn't just about charts. The chart is very important. Like a lot of people send me a lot of messages. Man, you get so many right. I wish I could get it right like you and so on. But it's no use just being accurate. Because I'll give you an example. I really do have a high accuracy rate, okay? But if I don't use a stop loss, I could get it right all month long. If I take a stop as big as today's candle, I could practically lose my account if I'm leveraged, you know? So it doesn't make sense to trade without a stop loss, to not have an execution plan, or to trade with a very small risk reward ratio. So what changes the game? What flips the switch for a trader is this. It's the combination of all three things: emotional control, chart analysis, technique. You need technique. You need to know how to read liquidity and risk management. So it's this combination that allows a trader to survive in the market and be profitable. Ah, okay. So the market is a jungle. You have to be the lion. You have to be smart. You have to know how to work. You have to know how to manage. And that's it, folks. I'm here for you to answer your questions, to help you out, okay? If you were a winning trader today, congratulations. If you didn't have much success today, if you didn't perform well today, don't give up, okay? The market is like that. The market is cyclical. What goes up comes down. What comes down goes up, okay? You just need to understand this timing, and it's totally normal to make mistakes, okay? Don't beat yourself up because you made a mistake. Don't get discouraged because you made a mistake. That's normal. You're going to keep making mistakes, okay? What I tell my students is there's a market every day. There are opportunities every day. So don't beat yourself up over it. Don't give up because of it. It's totally normal. I know people, I know traders, I know friends who have a hit rate of 40%, 50%, and they're profitable. They end every month in the green. So that's not what makes the difference. What really makes the difference is your management. It's about having your emotions well managed, well aligned. And just as I know traders with an 80 or 90% hit rate who aren't profitable, because when they win little, and when they lose a lot. And that's the difference between a professional trader and an amateur trader. So we'll wrap up here. Join the community and I'll keep you updated next time, okay? In the coming days, if there are clear opportunities, right? We'll be taking positions and I'll update the spot opportunity very soon, okay? I'm just going to wait for the market to make its next moves so we can have a better sense of what the price wants to do, all right? I've already created some spot positions, okay? I've already made some investments. I've mentioned some of them to you here, all right? But I haven't updated the community yet. I'll update it soon. All right? And that's it, everyone. God bless you all. May God bless each one of you. Have a great weekend. And it's just the beginning of the month. There's still a lot of market left for us this month. There will be plenty of opportunities. Stay strong.